Hey guys, Joeteck here. We're going to do some benchmarking with Sony Vegas Pro 13. We'll be right back. Hey guys, Joeteck here from Joeteck Tips. We're on Facebook and Twitter. Today we're going to have an interesting battle. We are going to be rendering on Sony Vegas Pro 13. We have 4 video cards. The GTX 480, the GTX 580, the GTX 980 Titanium for the win, and finally the R9 380. Just in case you don't know, or you can't see that it actually is, it's an R9 380. These 4 cards are going to battle on which can render the fastest in Sony Vegas Pro 13. Which is better, CUDA or OpenCL? We will find out. GTX 480. Okay, we're going to start this benchmark off with Sony Vegas Pro 13. Now I'm using 13 because 13 has a piece of software inside of it that allows it to check for specific, I guess, rendering technology such as CUDA or OpenCL. So when you go into File and Render, this happens to be a benching. This happens to be a benching tool for Vegas Pro 11, but it'll work with all Vegas Pro versions. This happens to be a benchmark specifically for Sony Vegas Pro, and all it is just information on the desktop, and it uses the GPU based on. So if you go into Tools, Options, Preferences, and into Video, you can say GPU acceleration for video processing. That's pretty much in preview mode. So when you hit this button here, it runs through the benchmark. So, but we really don't care about that. We really care about the rendering capability. So we hit Render As. And in this part here, we're using the Sony AV-MVC encoder. We also can use the main concept encoder, which is this one we're going to try. We're going to try both of them. These are the 2 that you mainly use because we want to render in MPEG-4. So we're not really interested in anything else in this listing here. However, if you hit Custom Template, like we have it here, we go here. In this particular location, you can render using a GPU if available. And if you click on System, you can say Check GPU, and it'll say CUDA is available. So remember, this is a GTX 480. So we're gonna hit Render. I actually started to do this already just to see what it was like. We're gonna re-render it again, and now we're gonna see how much time it actually takes. And let's just take a look at, let's do Render As again. And we're going to change this project. And we're going to name this Benchmark. Benchmarking tool. And we just want to make sure that everything is the way we want it. Oh, this is video format, so it's AV. Oh, it is MPEG-4. Okay. So it is CUDA. We just want to make sure. I want to save this so everything stays the same. So when I go back into it, because we're gonna do main concept here now at 1080p. Let's just make sure that we do this one, custom template. I'm going to say this one, And the maximum bits per second is 24,000 and 12,000, so we're going to make them both the same. So, okay, number of slices 4. Say render using OpenCL if available, render using CUDA if available. So we know CUDA is available, so let's do this one. Hit OK. So save it. Let's verify. CUDA is available. So we hit render, and we'll do this one 2. Let it render, see which one's faster. This looks like it's a little faster. This is much faster. You have to remember that Sony Vegas loves GTX 480, 580. That's what it's optimized for, believe it or not. Wow, 47 seconds. That's impressive. Far cry from the minute and 17 seconds that we had. We'll call this Sony. So I know the difference between the two. Let's see, main concept. Wow, you can definitely notice the difference there. Holy crap. That's really quick. Now, I run multiple video cards on my computer, so having a single card as a solution is not possible because I have so many monitors on my computer. This is impressive. Remember, this is a GTX 480, so this is a rather old card. And it's doing pretty darn good. Well, you know what? That's what we say right now. We just have to wait and see. Okay, 48 seconds. Okay, before we start off, let's verify GTX 580 before we get going on the benchmark. Okay, that's coming up now. Okay, here we go. Options, preferences. Let's make sure everything's still the same. GPU acceleration video processing is on the GTX 580. We go into File, Render. This should go a little bit quicker. So we're going to do the main concept again. Customize. System. Check. CUDA is available. And we hit Render. Replacing the file. Let's see how fast this goes. Now remember, this is the GTX 580. After this, we're going to test the GTX980 Titanium for the win. Wow, 44 seconds. Not bad. Not bad at all. Okay, now we're going to go to the Sony Benchmark. And we create a template for this. Sony, customize. Go into System, just to check. CUDA is available. Everything stays the same. We're not changing anything. So we're going the same from benchmark to benchmark to benchmark, from video to video card being the same thing. So we hit render. So the GTX 580 was 3 seconds faster than the GTX 480 in the main concept. Let's see how much faster it is in the Sony. Going pretty quick. Zipping right along. This may be faster. So we have Sony. First run. Actually, well, depends. It's in between these two. So GTX 580. And this was 1:16. Okay, before we begin with this particular benchmark, well, proving that we have the 980 GTX 980 Titanium here for the win. Well, it doesn't say for the win here, but I took a picture beforehand and we've proven it. So we go into the benchmark. GTX 980 Titanium. And we go into File, Render as. We want to choose. We're going to do the Sony one first. Customize system, check GPU, and it crashes. But we're going to give it a shot again. And we're going to try the, we're going to try the main concept one. And we go back into render if CUDA available. We're going to actually render if, yeah, we'll do CUDA again. Let's see if this actually works. System, let's see if it crashes. Okay, CUDA is available. It didn't crash that time, so that's good news. Let's go back here and say render if OpenCL available. Let's see if, see, it doesn't. So it only says CUDA. So that's actually good news that it actually didn't crash this time. So. And you get to see it firsthand. So let's see if this actually works any better. Render. Now, you're seeing for yourself. It says 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Aren't you shocked? Now, this is CUDA. It can't do OpenCL because the primary rendering engine is CUDA, not OpenCL. I can't force it to use OpenCL because it's a CUDA engine that's built in the GPU. There's nothing I can do. Can it do OpenCL? Yes, but it's not. It doesn't take precedence over the CUDA technology. So I'm happy that my subscriber requested this because this is a huge eye-opener. That is the reason why. Well, we're going to see when we do the R9 380 momentarily. That'll be a real shocker. But remember, I'm not comparing, I wasn't comparing the GTX 580 or the 480 to my R9 380. I was comparing my GTX 980 Ti with the R9 380 because I did it for the OpenCL part of it. That's it. So the subscriber that requested this, his screen name or his YouTube name spells out, "You knew to try for life." And I believe he is Romanian. That's a guess. And I hope that this benchmark proves what I told you in the Vega video. This is unacceptable, as you saw. All right, so 2 minutes and 43 seconds. So that was using, what was that using? I think that was the main concept, right? Let's just write 240. 243. I'm assuming that was the main concept. We'll check shortly. Close file, render. Yeah, main concept. All right, so now we're going to do the Sony. Customize. Let's hope to God this doesn't crash. Now it says here, render using GPU available. So it's either OpenCL or CUDA. But when we check for it, no GPU available. Okay, so now what's it going to do? So the Sony clearly it can't detect anything. So the Sony driver, so the main concept obviously will work better for this. That's the reason why I chose Sony Vegas Pro 13, because 14 you can't do this. So let's give it a shot. So what is it using? If there's no GPU, is it possible that it's using OpenCL? It says use GPU, so it's very possible that it is using OpenCL at this particular point because it can't detect the GPU engine. It is clearly faster than the main concept one, which used CUDA, and the CUDA version on this GPU is newer than the GTX980. However, the software was specifically written to work with Fermi-based technology. That's why the GTX 480 and the 580 kicked some royal ass. In a matter of speaking, it did. So that's why it's beating out the GTX 980 Titanium for the win. At least 100% faster. So that's unacceptable in my eyes because I render videos every day, including this, and this is going to be rendered momentarily after I capture all the data, because right now, even though I'm talking and everything, this is actually, we're doing this real time with, you know, not real time, but I'm benchmarking and talking at the same time. But so this was 1 minute and 25 seconds. So let's go back here. So we say GTX 980 Ti. So this is 1 minute and 25 seconds, and this was Sony. No GPU detected, but we're going to assume this was OpenCL because it didn't detect anything else. So 1 minute 25. So it's still slower than the GTX 580, which was CUDA. And that was, well, this was, I'm sorry, the main concept was faster on the GTX 580. And this was Sony. So this is, see what I'm talking about, people? I'm not full of shit. But at least I have data to back up what I say, and which is what people were asking. Well, that's one subscriber was asking, and that's important. And now we're going to go to the R9 380 now. Okay, now I'm showing that the R9 380 is here. However, the driver for Windows 10, there is a small bug, and it shows up as a 200 series. It is correct. It is a 390, It just, for some reason, shows up as a 200 series in Windows 10. You can look it up. It's a common problem. I wouldn't be lying to you. You saw the video prior to this. Okay, so now, we're going to be doing the same thing that we did before. And we're going to run this. So we're going to go into File, Render As, and we're going to do main concept first. Customize. Check GPU. Oh, that's interesting. CUDA. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, well, hang on. CUDA is OpenCL. That's funny. I didn't think. That's weird. That's not supposed to do that. It's an OpenCL. That's very odd. I've never seen that before. That's really strange. Well, let's see how this works. I'm not sure if this is actually working properly because it's not detecting correctly. It's clearly an AMD product. So this is taking some time. Let's see if it's going to be anywhere near GTX 980 Ti. It's going to be pretty close. But then again, it was detecting incorrectly on the main concept. Actually, it's going to be slower. It's going to be just a few seconds slower, maybe 2 minutes and 47 seconds. But then again, like I said, it detected it incorrectly. I didn't think it would actually show up CUDA, which is interesting. Main concepts may not be a good rendering engine for the R9 380. So it looks like it's going to be 2 minutes and 48 seconds. That's a guess. Let's see. Wow, I'm actually shocked. Well, I use the Sony rendering engine when I use it for 243. Look at that. It's the same time. Oy. That's funny. Okay. So now we go File, Render As, and we go to the Sony. Custom template system, check GPU, OpenCL. So Sony is specifically for OpenCL, GPU available, and we're going to render it. See how fast this is. Zipping right along. Now this is a short video. It's just about, what is it? Just over a minute long. Total time. So it's got to beat a minute and 25 seconds. Which it did. So 1 minute and 15 seconds. And that's the, whoops, I have these numbers backwards. So minute. So main concept is 2 minutes and 43 seconds, and the Sony rendering is 1 minute and 15 seconds. So it is faster than the 980 Ti and the Sony. Now remember, we're assuming that it was rendering an OpenCL on the 980 Ti, but because it didn't detect any GPU, so it wasn't doing CPU, there's no way in hell CPU would take 1 minute and 25 seconds. It would be up closer to 3 minutes, 2 minutes, and probably close to this or better for a CPU. It's still going to use both. Automatic. Wow. That's impressive. 1 minute and 12. I'm not even sure where I should put that because it's not even, I didn't do it for the rest of them, so I'm not going to include it with the other ones, but wow. Very interesting. So we concluded that the R9 380 is faster than the GTX 980, faster than the GTX 580, but the GTX 480, which is older, kind of goes in between. It could be bouncing, but the main concept for CUDA wins for these two cards. I mean, 44 seconds and 47 seconds. That's just crazy. So as you can clearly see, that the Sony Vegas Pro 13 is written for Fermi technology. That's it. It'll work with OpenCL, but it's mainly Fermi based. So that was the reason why I said all that. But since I need to upgrade my machine. I need to have 6 monitors on my computer, so I can't have I can't use these older cards because they can't support all the monitors that I want. The 980 Ti has 6 gig of memory, so I can have 4 monitors on that, and then the R9 380 does the other. But for some reason, it freaks out the machine having 2 video cards in the system. So since it detects OpenCL, it uses that and renders it much, much faster. So that's pretty much it. An interesting conclusion, I should say. Okay, guys, as you can clearly see, that the Sony Vegas Pro 13 is written for Fermi technology. Using the main concepts engine, it ripped through rendering bar none. Very impressive that an older card such as a GTX 480 could keep up with the GTX 580 and blow away the GTX 980 with no problem whatsoever. Very shocking, isn't it? And also, the GTX 480 beat out the R9 380. This is a heck of a lot newer than this, but again, the software is written for Fermi, and these two cards are Fermi based, so that is why it wins. However, since I don't like to, deal with older technology, well, not that I don't like to, I run my system with 6 monitors. This one does 4, this one does 2, and rendering is used with this card and just display with this one. So, however, if you only have Fermi-based cards and you like Sony Vegas Pro like myself, the GTX 580 or the 480 video cards will do just fine. Interesting. Hey guys, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. I try to do the best that I possibly can for my subscribers and future subscribers. Take care, and we'll see you next time.